Bench testing a 1958 Cadillac headlight switch, the fog light option. Serial number JL 09232022, offered by TT Parts Rebuilding. Run-up test. Test number 1, tail and parking light test. Test number 2, tail and headlight test. Test number 3, dash lights low to high. Test number 4, tail and fog light operation, front parking lights off. Test number 5, circuit breaker test. And test number 6, switch terminals insulated from ground. Using a fully charged battery, we have 12.84 volts. Monitoring the rheostat temperature, we're showing 85 degrees Fahrenheit. For the run-up test, we're going to be using a backup battery charger. Now run-up test voltage now is 13.42. Test number 1, tail and parking light test. First position, the tail lights, front parking lights. Dash lights, set to low. Now a little increase of the temperature of the rheostat to 85, 86 degrees. Back to off. Test number 2, tail and headlight test. First position, tail lights, front parking. Second position, front parking lights off, headlights on, dash lights on, tail lights on. Back to first position, parking lights, tail lights, front headlights are off, dash lights set to low and off. Test number 3, dash lights low to high. First position, we have parking, front parking, tail lights, and dash lights. We're going to rotate the rheostat to the full bright, and then we're going to dim the dash lights to off. The off position. Go to mid-range. We picked up a little bit of temperature in the rheostat. Full bright. Second position. Headlights on, front parking lights off, dash lights on bright. Mid-range. Off. Back to mid-range. Full bright. And off. Test number 4, tail and fog light operation, front parking lights off. First position, front parking, dash set to mid-range, tail lights. Using the fog light control switch, we're going to rotate it to turn the fog lights on. Indication of front fog lights, front parking lights are off, tail lights remain on. This function is only available in first position. The features are not available in second position. Due to the fact that classic cars had generator and carrying the extra bulb load would be more dimming of the lights. Going back to first position, we see we have control of the front fogs and the parking. Fog light, front parking, and off. Circuit breaker test. Telco run the headlight switches had an onboard circuit breaker. We're going to be going to first position. We're going to probe the circuit breaker. Battery voltage goes through the bar, through the bimetallic spring to feed up the contacts on the inside. In the event there was a short in the vehicle, the bimetallic spring would heat, expand, and break the circuit. Close the circuit. Test that in second position. Again. Break the circuit. Close the circuit. And off. First position. Rheostat temperature is running about 94 degrees. to off position. Increase the bulb brightness to full on and off. Test number 6, switch terminals insulated from ground. Using a standard 12-volt test light, grounding to the chassis of the switch, we see we have continuity back to the battery. We'll be probing the terminals. We have no continuity through the switch body. If the switch body was short of the ground, we would get continuity to the test light. You see we only have it at the chassis ground. Shows that the switch terminals are insulated from ground. Bench testing a 1958 Cadillac headlight switch with a fog light option. Serial number JL09242022. Offered by TT Parts Rebuilding. Run-up test. Test number 1, tail and parking light test. Test number 2, tail and headlight test. Test number 3, dash lights low to high. Test number 4, tail and fog light operation, front parking lights off. Test number 5, circuit breaker test. Test number 6, switch terminals insulated from ground. For this test, we'll be monitoring the battery voltage and the rheostat temperature. Switching over to backup charger. Conducting a run-up test at 13.23 volts. Test number 1, tail and parking light test. First position, the front parking, tail lights, and dash lights. Dash lights, we're going to be bringing it down to low position and monitor the rheostat temperature, running right around 89 degrees Fahrenheit. Rotate the rheostat to the bright position, mid-range, full bright. Still maintaining about 89-90 degrees Fahrenheit. Back to mid-range and off. Test number 2, tail and headlight test. First position, second position, headlight. Front parking lights are off. Tail lights remain on, and rotate the rheostat mid-range to full bright. Back to first position. Rotate the rheostat to mid-range for the dash lights. Monitoring the rheostat temperature about 91 degrees and off. Test number 3, dash lights low to high. First position. Rotate the rheostat to the dim position, to the off position, mid-range, full bright. Second position, headlights. Front parking lights are off. Dash lights are on full bright. Mid-range, low, and off. Back to mid-range, back to first position, and off. Test number 4, tail and fog light operation, front parking lights off. First position, tail lights, front parking, dash lights. The fog light switch rotating. We can see we shut the front parking lights off and the front fog lights are on. Back to front parking. Headlight position, second position. The option is not available. This option is only available in first position, parking light, fog, front parking. This option is only available in low position due to the fact that generators on the early vehicles can only produce so much amperage at low speeds, and this would result in running all the lights. You would have very dim lights. So the option is only available in first position, not in second position. And off. Test number 5, circuit breaker test. First position, Using a probe, we're going to open the circuit. The Delco Remedy headlight switches had a built-in circuit breaker. Battery current would pass through the bimetallic spring. If there was a short in the vehicle, the spring would heat up and break the circuit. We can see that the circuit is broken. Now the circuit is complete. Going to second position, we have the same feature. Overheating of the spring would cause it to open the circuit, protect the wiring, and off. Test number 6, switch terminals insulated from ground. Using a standard 12-volt test light, we probe the chassis of the body of the switch. You see they have continuity back to the battery. Checking the terminals, we have no continuity. Any of the terminals show no short to ground. If in the event that this body was shorted to ground, we would have continuity and it would be indicated by the test light. This test shows that the insulation between the body terminals and the ground is complete. Only continuity back to the battery through the chassis ground.